Welcome to our exploration of Stoic wisdom. I'm pleased you're joining me because today's discussion could truly shift how you view yourself and how others perceive you. Here's the essence. Genuinely intelligent men possess a quiet secret. It's not about holding every fact or recalling the history of every American landmark. Their true strength lies in recognizing when silence is golden. Sometimes, the words you withhold speak volumes more than any eloquent statement ever could. Over the years, I've delved into human behavior, blending the timeless teachings of ancient Stoics with observations from quiet evenings, reflecting on life's unfolding stories. Perhaps over a warm cup of tea while watching the world go by in places like the bustling streets of New York or the serene parks of Boston. And let me share this. The most insightful men I've encountered share a trait. They don't squander their words. They avoid rushing to fill every quiet moment. And they absolutely steer clear of phrases that undermine their own standing. So today, we're examining 7 things intelligent men never say, not because they are without flaws, but because they've discovered, often through life's tougher lessons, that these expressions lead to dead ends. Stay with me. Consider subscribing to our YouTube channel for more such reflections, and let's grow wiser together. 1. I already know that. There's a phrase that escapes our lips more frequently than we might care to acknowledge. I already know that. It appears innocuous, perhaps even assured. But what it truly unveils is something less admirable, a mindset that's shut off to new ideas. An intelligent man recognizes this pitfall. He understands that the instant we persuade ourselves there's no more to absorb, we've barricaded the path to personal development. I came to this realization through a challenging experience some time ago. I was collaborating with a guide, a fellow who moved with the steady assurance of someone who had navigated countless trials in life, speaking only when necessary. We were assessing a method I'd handled numerous times. He started to elaborate on an aspect, and without pausing to think, I interjected with, "Yes, I know that already." He offered me a steady, weighty glance and proceeded. That night, it dawned on me what I'd done. Not merely cut him short, but deprived myself of the opportunity to grasp what his seasoned eyes perceived that mine had missed. His decades of living had revealed insights not found in standard guides or routine sessions, perspectives I hadn't yet encountered. When we utter, "I already know that," what we're essentially declaring is, "I have no further lessons to learn." That's not a mark of intelligence. It's hubris masquerading as expertise. Stoic philosophy pierces this facade directly. Marcus Aurelius cautioned us straightforwardly, "You cannot gain knowledge when you believe you possess it all." He implied that our ego, our drive to appear informed, to safeguard the persona we've crafted, becomes the barrier to true advancement. It fools us into thinking we're on firm footing when we're actually teetering on vanity. Intelligent men grasp that knowledge isn't a prize you claim and display eternally. It's a flowing stream, ever shifting, ever evolving. You enter the same spot repeatedly, yet the current changes each time. I recall observing an experienced craftsman in Philadelphia, patiently absorbing an explanation from a young helper about a skill he'd undoubtedly perfected years earlier. He nodded, posed inquiries, even expressed gratitude for the input. Later, when I questioned why he didn't simply state he already knew it, he grinned and replied, "Because occasionally, you uncover more by hearing another's viewpoint. That's genuine wisdom, a form of intelligence that doesn't require proclamation." So, if you find yourself thinking, "I've encountered this before," pause, breathe, and listen regardless. Not to indulge the speaker, but because you might uncover a fresh element, a subtle shift, a refinement that enriches your comprehension. And even if nothing new emerges, you cultivate humility, demonstrate respect, and in time, that positions you as someone truly worth hearing. In Stoicism, this is self-mastery, the capacity to sideline pride for clarity, the fortitude to remain life's perpetual learner. And ultimately, that's the enduring intelligence. 2. That's impossible. Many years back, I collaborated with a man named Samuel. He was astute, seasoned, the sort of figure who bore the company's burdens with unyielding poise, never betraying fatigue. Yet, there was one expression he employed frequently, almost instinctively. That's impossible. Whenever a fresh concept arose, be it expanding into a new region like the Midwest markets, refining an obsolete procedure, or engaging a tough partner, he brushed it aside with those words. Initially, it seemed sensible, prudent even. After all, who wastes effort on fanciful notions? But gradually, it became evident. Each utterance of "that's impossible" described not the circumstance, but his own boundaries, his apprehensions. The Stoics grasped this mentality profoundly. Seneca noted that we endure more in our minds than in actuality, and that's precisely what Samuel was enacting. He wasn't evaluating objectively. He was casting his dread of shortfall onto the scenario. Fear of the uncharted, of erring, of attempting and falling short. It's a subtle fear, cloaked in reason, caution, sensibility, but beneath lies what confines us, the conviction that without a clear, full journey, we shouldn't embark. Stoic philosophy dismantles this self-created stagnation by emphasizing that the barrier isn't the issue. It's our view of it that overcomes us. I've witnessed this personally. There was an endeavor I joined long after Samuel, with constrained funds, a timeline tighter than feasible, and an unseasoned group. Every rational instinct screamed it couldn't happen, but rather than declaring that's impossible, I shifted approach. I pondered what I could manage today. What's the immediate modest action? That initiative became one of my most triumphant, not through wonders, but by rejecting paralysis from the challenge's magnitude. We concentrated on successive steps. Marcus Aurelius stated, "You command your thoughts, not external happenings." And that distinction transformed everything. When a man proclaims that's impossible, he concedes before engaging. Intelligent men recognize that what seems impossible is often merely unfamiliar. It's not a barrier. It's an invitation to advance. They comprehend that resilience builds not from every victory, but from persistent presence, particularly when odds appear against. That's Stoic bravery's core. Not blind hope, but disciplined endurance. In life, we're frequently called to tackle the arduous, and labeling it impossible seals opportunities. But he who takes the next step, however minor, unlocks what others overlook. That's not mere intelligence, it's wisdom tempered by endeavor. 3. That's not my fault. One of the most harmful declarations a man can make is "that's not my fault." It's disarmingly straightforward, and it frequently feels warranted in the instant. When matters sour at work, in bonds, or daily existence, it's instinctive to shield ourselves, to clarify that culpability rests elsewhere. But the reality is, each deflection of accountability surrenders our agency alongside it. Intelligent men comprehend this profoundly. They've realized that accountability isn't about accusation, it's about sway, and declining even a fragment of it forfeits the role in resolution. I observed this years ago with a companion named Benjamin. He forfeited a key associate, swiftly detailing why it wasn't his doing. The associate was demanding. The economy was fluctuating. His crew lagged on timelines, all partially accurate. But as he focused on exoneration, the chance to glean and enhance evaporated. He remained ensnared, replicating errors, persuaded it was perpetually another's issue to mend. What he overlooked was that by shunning any accountability, he relinquished the element that could alter his path. Self-command. The Stoics advocated concentrating on what's controllable, releasing the remainder. Epictetus asserted it's not events that matter, but our responses. That's pivotal. Uttering "that's not my fault" places change's power in others' grasp. We await their corrections, amends, improvements, but accepting a minor portion reclaims authority, shifting from inactive to engaged, from impotent to potent. In my experiences, Embracing my share, however slight, reveals unseen paths, perhaps admitting unclear communication or better readiness. Even amid others' larger lapses, that readiness fosters trust, internally and externally. It marks you as someone who doesn't await salvation or validation. You proceed. Accusation is simple. Accountability is demanding. Yet therein lies fortitude. The Stoics urge us not to evade hardship but transcend it. Ascending starts with what can I alter next? That's how intelligent men guide. Not by assigning blame, but forging ahead. If these reflections resonate, let me know by commenting yes below. Your insights are valuable, and I'd appreciate hearing them. 4. I don't need any help. One of the riskiest deceptions a man can embrace is, I don't need any help. It appears honorable superficially, self-sufficient, robust. It's an expression we've been taught to esteem, particularly in a society that lauds the independent pioneer, the individual who charts his course in shoulders, loads without murmur, but beneath, it's less valiant. The denial of aid often stems not from strength, but from conceit, subtle, eroding, obscuring. It severs connections, convinces us that silent struggle is virtuous, and gradually, it diminishes the endurance we believe we're safeguarding. This came to mind when I studied Theodore Roosevelt during America's turbulent eras. History depicts him as a solitary force, resolute, bearing national weights. Yet, overlooked is how profoundly he relied on counsel. He gathered advisors who opposed him, sought conflicting views, not from insecurity, but recognizing wisdom emerges not in solitude, but through bravery to confess incomplete knowledge. Amid conflicts like those in the early 20th century, Roosevelt consulted generals despite divergences, investing hours with his team, valuing clashing ideas. This wasn't frailty, it was humility measured strength. Intelligent men learn this eventually. Autonomy matters, but never absolutely. The Stoics clarified this. Marcus Aurelius, amid his empire's might, documented in his writings the debts to mentors, educators, companions, listing lessons each imparted. Admitting their influence on the world's paramount leader, didn't feign omniscience. Why should we? Yet many do. We convince ourselves seeking aid admits defeat, that outreach signifies inadequacy, that conviction traps us, isolates us in our thoughts, submerging in burdens not meant for solitude, and denies others the joy of contribution. I've stumbled here myself, once believing I must manage all. Career, kin, ceaseless demands of strength's facade. Thinking containment meant self-reliance. It merely exhausted me. The pivot arrived when I confided in a trusted soul that I couldn't solo it, discovering not criticism, but empathy, backing. That humility granted vitality and insight long absent. True strength isn't prolonged isolation. It's discerning when to extend or accept a hand. The Stoics teach we're interconnected, designed for collaboration, mutual support. Epictetus notes no one is isolated. Pretending so defies life's order. Strength isn't lessened by aid. It's characterized by it. Demanding valor, sincerity, hallmarks of wise intelligence. Next time the urge arises to say, I've got this alone, pause. Question if it's fortitude or vanity speaking. Recall Roosevelt, who led wisely, humbly, knowing even mightiest need support to endure. 5. I'm too old for that. One of the most corrosive untruths a man can internalize is I'm too old for that. It emerges softly, often veiled as realism or lighthearted jest. But deeper, it's resignation, a conviction that prime chapters are concluded. Little remains worthwhile. It's thinking that seals entrances prematurely. Intelligent men see this as not just restrictive, but poisonous. It gradually erodes purpose, a subtle capitulation of life's ongoing potential. I once learned of a man named Ernest, at 93, After a career editing publications in Chicago and nurturing a family, he chose to author his initial book. He titled it The Unseen Divide, recounting his youth in a modest American town split by beliefs and bias. Rejected by various outlets, it published when he was 96, earning global praise, translated widely, impacting countless. He penned three more thereafter. Ernest rejected the falsehood of being too old. He didn't deem it tardy. He had expressions, creations, and pursued them. What impressed me wasn't acclaim, but bravery, believing life offered more. Even in later decades, he wasn't done evolving, absorbing, giving. That bravery isn't reserved for such figures. It's our daily choice. Heed the voice claiming missed opportunities, or embrace that with breath comes purpose. The Stoics held age irrelevant to spirit. Marcus Aurelius pondered this, noting mortality's certainty. But until then, live wholly, virtuously. He saw wisdom ripening with years, not from time, but sustained curiosity, courage. Growth persists, matures. I've observed men in their 60s mastering fresh skills, launching ventures in places like San Francisco, guiding emerging talents. Others succumb to regret, time's burden, retreating. The divide is mindset, saying I'm too old seals, asking what now opens. Age doesn't bar bold living. It equips with experience, clarity, endurance, tools for continuation, not conclusion. That's the Stoic way. Persist learning, striving to the end. For while here, work remains. If this struck a chord, like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As each fresh life view I uncover, I wish you to experience it first. 6. I'll do it later. Few expressions are more alluring and ruinous than I'll do it later. It seems benign, logical. A vow will address it soon, but truthfully, later is where aspirations quietly perish. Wise men comprehend this, many through hardship. Delaying essentials doesn't grant time, it steals it. Each postponement will connect tomorrow, mend next week, commence when calm, gambles with uncontrollable time. I knew a man named Frederick in Washington, prosperous, thriving enterprise, loving household, community esteem, yet perpetually occupied. He assured himself he'd devote more to his elderly mother later, when office eased, deferred their planned outing to the Chesapeake Bay, delayed calls, visits, then later vanished. She departed abruptly, leaving Frederick with unsent messages, unspoken words. He confided this later. Not for pity, but caution. We assume time until absent. The Stoics addressed this starkly. Marcus Aurelius daily recalled mortality, not gloomily, but to heighten urgency. He inscribed, "You might depart now. Let that shape actions, words, thoughts, not theory, but practice. Mindset-wise men embrace. Clock beyond grasp. Time ignores readiness, plans, intentions. What delayed today may evade tomorrow. Thus, wise men act presently, make the call, step toward reconciliation, initiate the lingering idea, not easily, but knowing perfect moments are rare illusions. In my path, postponing dialogues for unease, unwritten notes thinking time ample, but acting lifted burdens, clarity ousted regret, action forges memorable life. Stoics urge living now, urgency fully, later consoles until too late. He who acts today leaves no vital undone. Lives regret-free, true wisdom, opportunity doesn't recur. It dims while we await ideal. 7. That's just how I am. One of the most confining convictions a man clings to is that's just how I am. It rings conclusive, like a period, but it signals surrender, ceasing growth. Intelligent men evade this. Grasping we're not static, bound by habits or histories. Our essence forms from repeated choices. Declaring change impossible doesn't define nature. It evades accountability. I've seen this repeatedly. A man flares temper. When noted, shrugs, "That's me." Another shuns deep ties from vulnerability, fear. Claims that's always been, not facts. Excuses, letting fear. Stagnation poses insight, revealing resistance to unease. Change is toil. Truth, no one's fully formed. Stoics challenge directly, not captives of temperament, past, urges. Epictetus said judgments disturb, not things. Similarly, stories limit, not nature. Change discomforts, demand scrutiny, releasing familiar, even painful. But Stoics deem mastery life's peak, necessary for meaning. Growth requires candor, questioning if actions stem from true self or ease over effort. Intelligent men opt harder, view wisdom as practice, daily betterment, not disdain for now, but respect to evolve. Ultimately, that's just how I am, closest possibility. Stoics note life is change. Nature is. Resisting denies existence. He who embraces sees self as evolving, unfinished yet eager. Therein true wisdom. Final thought. If you've ever found yourself voicing one of these 7 phrases, know you're not alone. I've been there myself, more often than I prefer to recall. But here's the encouraging part. Intelligent men aren't those who avoid errors entirely. They're the ones who spot them and opt for improvement. And that's precisely what we're achieving here, advancing one deliberate decision at a time. So, which of these resonated most with you today? Perhaps it's bidding farewell to "that's just how I am," or finally setting aside "I'll do it later" before it turns into never, whatever it may be. Consider this your gentle nudge to take that next step, because wisdom isn't about flawlessness, it's about remaining open, grounded in humility, and continually progressing. If this discussion stirred something within you, share this video with a companion on a similar journey. It could make a real difference. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay connected for more insights like these. Let's keep the conversation going. Drop a comment with the phrase that hit home for you, or simply yes if you're ready to make a change. Your participation means a lot, and together, we can build on this path of Stoic wisdom. Until next time, take care, and remember, the power of your words shapes the man you become.